Alright, so this is just going to be a super quick video. The fan on this, I believe, what is this, a Samsung? Yep. Samsung notebook, model NP540U3C. Alright, the full model is NP540U3C-A01US. Alright, the fan was making loud noises, the customer brought it in, it was going like something like that. Anyways, we're using a JAS0 screwdriver to remove this one screw. I'm not going to be taking apart the whole thing, we're just going to be taking a look at that, but there's one screw there. Okay, if you wanted to take everything out, there's all these other screws, and there's some underneath this door, but I'm not going to do that. Also, there's a battery release or reset button here, so if you use like a bent out paper clip or a small like needle or something, you can press on that button, hold it for like 15 seconds. Sometimes that will help if there's some like power on issues. All right, once you get that screw out, this can be a little tricky. I get my fingernail in here and I kind of like pull up, and then I work my way over here. Okay, so basically we're going to work our way down as we're like pulling up on here. Okay, and then you gotta like push the panel that way as you're kind of like pulling on it. Okay, so we'll go like that. You can hear it clicked. Now we have like a bigger gap here, and then we're just going to go along and continue doing that. You can use plastic pry tools obviously, but I just use my fingernails because they work really well. Okay, then as you can see, I like popped out these sides as well. Then these back ones, you're going to pull this panel towards yourself like that, and it'll come out. All right, the first time you open this pad and stuff will be stuck down a little bit, and also it looks like there's some double stick adhesive here. I don't know if somebody put that, or if this was put in at one point because it wasn't sticking down right, or if that's how it is from factory, but looks like there's double stick adhesive tape all along there. So keep in mind when you take that out, you're gonna have to like pull on it and just keep some constant pressure, and it should eventually peel out. Okay, you have a 2.5-inch SATA SSD here. Looks like there's 4 screws holding this in place, and then you have this little latch that you'd have to undo to get it out. Let me actually show you this. A lot of people ask for a better view of how to remove these. You actually want to use it works best to use fingernails, not little tools, but basically you just flick it straight up. Don't try and push it over sideways, you just want to go straight up. Okay, so I get my fingernail in there and I just flick it straight up just like that, and then once it's up you can kind of push it over, but make sure you're not like pushing too much force over there, and then this cable should slide out very easily. If it's not sliding out very easily, then you might want to make sure this is all the way back, but be careful because if you pull too hard, this thing can break off easily. I've had a lot of people say that they ripped these off, and I've had some people bring in stuff from ripping it off themselves. Right, it's very rare for me to rip this piece off. It doesn't really break that easily if you know what you're doing, so unless it was damaged previously by someone else that broke the mounting stuff, it usually doesn't break that easily. Okay, so that's the hard drive. You also have a stick of RAM here. They put this thing on top. You just pull these, pull these 2 tabs to the side here. Okay, and oh, that's tough. Okay, you pull on the silver ones, not the black ones. Then it pops up and you can pull this out. This is a 4 gig stick, PC3 12800S. Okay, PC3 12800S. So you should be able to use any PC3 12800S RAM. So if you want, you can get an 8 gig stick and then you can upgrade it with that. All right, I'm going to clean out the dust that's under here. Okay, so when you put this back, you do have to go in at an angle like that. I like to wiggle it while I'm pushing it into the slot and then click it down. Again, only these little silver, the metal tabs move. These black ones don't actually move. Okay, all right. Looks like you have the LCD LVDS connector here. I wouldn't mess with that unless you get to the battery first. So again, if you are taking the whole laptop apart, there are hidden screws under here. You'd have to remove the hard drive. It looks like there's another screw here and then another screw here. You don't need to remove the heatsink screws, and then there's another screw there. Again, I'm not going to be taking this apart, but yeah, you'd have to remove all the case screws and the ones under that door. Alright, so we only had the issue with the fan, so this was more like a quick look inside. The fan is a little bit tricky to get to. If you remove this one screw here, it might help. Okay, so let's see. Will that help? This one's actually JIS1, I believe. Yeah, it's a JIS1. So if you're going to mess with that screw, be a little bit careful. Okay, you can see now we can kind of pull this up a little bit, and then it helps to use like some needle nose pliers or something to grab at the wings of this connector, and then I kind of just wiggle it as I kind of pull, and you want to be very gentle with this. So I'm just slowly, carefully wiggling this and pulling, and it should eventually wiggle itself out. There we go. Okay, once you see it's kind of like out, then you should be good. We don't need to keep this screw out, so I'll actually put this screw back in. The first time I did it, I actually did it without even removing this screw, but this does give you a little more room to work on it. Okay. Alright, next thing we gotta do, it's a little tricky, but you got these wireless antennas going over here. We have to unthread them from here. I don't know why they thread them this way. It's not really necessary, but that's how they did it. So we're just gonna unthread it. So we gotta go up over that little groove under this one. Okay, pull them aside, pull them aside. All right, and then this one can be a little tricky here too. If you remove the hard drive, it would actually be easier, but I'm gonna go from this side where the screw is. Okay, and I'm gonna lift it over that little raised area, then pull it over to the left. Okay, and then once we get it over that, we can actually push it down to where the hard drive is, and then that gets it out of this little hook there as well. Okay, and there we go. So that's not completely removed, but we have two screws here, and then once we remove the fan, it'll be a lot easier. Okay, so we got those two screws. Okay. All right, so I actually worked on this earlier, so this metal piece is probably gonna fall off, but you want to get under the fan and you just gotta pull it up. Okay, and it's gonna be difficult because there is some like adhesive holding it, so you just gotta keep pulling real hard and eventually it should fly out. Okay, so right now you can see this piece is coming off. Normally this piece wouldn't come off. I'm gonna actually add some tape to that to fix it, but here you can see how the fan is hooked in here. And you want to make sure that this cable, the wireless antennas, isn't getting caught. Oh, the black antenna is still there. Okay, so make sure none of those wires are getting caught, and there we go. We have the fan. Okay, so like I said earlier, this thing was mounted here. I'm going to add tape to hold it together better. I just kind of wanted to put it together to show you guys how I did this fix. But these little plastic things here, they're just like, they used to stick out further and then they were melted and pressed down into place. So I used a razor blade. Okay, basically I took a razor blade like this, and then I just cut the excess like plastic off the top, and now you can actually remove the metal plate. So you got to remove it from this one, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, and then after you remove those 5, you should be able to pull this plate off. I actually have videos showing how to do that on other models, but there you go. And this one, the fan propellers come off really easily. Be careful with the blades. You don't want to squeeze them too hard because they can break easily. But these fan propellers come out pretty easily. You can actually go from the bottom here, and then you can push it. Oops, sorry, you can push it through. I didn't want to like drop it in the thing, but you can push it through the hole. But you want to put even pressure. Okay. You can actually see there's some oil in here. I added new oil. The oil, the grease got bad, dried up, and then it was causing this part to stick. So that's why it makes that like sound. Basically, it keeps gripping and then letting go. It's kind of like when you slide your finger on something like very smooth and it like does that squeaky sound. I can't do it on any of this, but some stuff you can like grip it just enough to where your finger goes like down the thing. But anyways, what we did, or what I did, was I took a little small screwdriver. You can use like a needle or whatever, dipped it into some motor oil. I have some motor oil from my old car. If you don't have any on hand, you can actually pull the dipstick out of your car, or if you don't have a car, ask your parents. If they don't know what the dipstick is, you can actually Google and figure out how to do that. But basically there's a little thing with a loop on it. Usually it's like yellow. You can get your finger in there and then pull it up, and then you can get a little oil off that. All right, or any oil that's designed for moving parts. Don't use like WD-40 or cooking oils or stuff, mineral oils, things like that. Don't use that. Use stuff that's designed for moving parts. Otherwise, it'll go bad real fast or might make things worse. Okay, oops, I overdid a little bit here, so I'm going to kind of just get it off with this. Okay, so you can see there's some oil there. Anyways, after I oiled the fan, it's perfectly fine now. I actually have this thing I can use to blow it. And it spins really smooth now. Before it would like get stuck. And one other test you can do is like if you move the fan, if it like wobbles back and forth like this, then you know the grease is good. Like you can see if I pull it down and I let go, it goes back to the other side. Okay, that's how you know the grease is good, because the magnet is strong enough to just make the fan spin around on its own. Okay, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and put this back on. Okay, just line up the little dimples and click it all back together. Okay, and then I'm going to use some tape this time to put it back together. So pretty simple, straightforward. I'm just going to take a piece of tape. Okay, peel this up. All right, and we'll cut a piece here. All right, and then we're going to cut it to smaller tabs. So we got this. We're going to cut it like that to make a little tab. Okay, just like this. And what we're going to do is basically get over one side, okay, and then wrap it over the edge. So there you can see now it wrapped over. We don't even need too much of this, yeah, all right. You can use as much or as little as you want, just enough to keep it from falling apart easily. All right, technically, if I just put one here and one on the other side, that should already be enough that it's okay if it's kind of lifting up a little. But yeah, if you want, you can put a whole bunch and then make it secure again, or you can even just put glue over the plastic parts that you cut off. Okay. All right, so I'm going to wrap this on here and wrap that down. Since I have this big piece of tape, I might as well use a bunch of it. So we're just going to keep cutting a whole bunch and stick these tabs all around. Okay. Okay, the other option is you can buy a new fan, but really these fans, the only thing that goes wrong is kind of that grease. Unless you somehow burnt out the motor from it getting stuck and having issues turning, usually you shouldn't have any issues and shouldn't need a new fan. Okay, there we go. You can see we're wrapping it all around. Alright, put a little more all around. This should be super secure now. It shouldn't come out at all. Okay, let's actually see if we can fit a little bit on this edge. Sorry, I keep going out of view of the camera. I keep forgetting it's zoomed in so far. Okay, let's see if I can fit one at the edge over there. And then we should be good. Okay, that one's probably not going to hold very well. Let's put this over here and wrap it on top of that other one. Okay, so we got the fan reassembled. Let's go ahead now and just put it back in there. Make sure if you're replacing the fan or getting a new one, that the solid plastic part is face up. You don't want to put it upside down where you can see these metal pins. Okay, so make sure the solid part is face up. Get that in there, and then you can just use something to push it in. Make sure it goes in all the way. Okay, there we go. Then we get this line back up. Make sure that the wireless antennas end up back around on top. Technically, you don't need to tuck it back into place. You can actually just leave the antenna wires out like that, and you should be fine. But I'm going to try and put them back the way I got them. Okay. So we'll get these screws in there. Just like that. Okay. And putting these wireless antennas back is kind of a pain, but we'll see what we can do. Oops, I meant to put, why did I put that screw? Okay, so we'll put, this one had a silver screw here. I accidentally put the one from the casing cover in there. Let me see if these two are exactly the same. Okay. Yeah, I think the fan screw and the other bottom case screw are the same. Unless somebody opened it up and swapped them around. Maybe this is supposed to have the silver one. I don't know. No, the rest of the screws around the case are black, so I guess it makes sense. Alright, anyways, let me zoom in a little bit here. And I'll try and show you guys this process to tuck it in. Basically, you hold it over to the side here. And then tuck these down beneath the hard drive area. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be tricky. I guess let me actually do this side first. So we'll tuck that one in there. Okay, I don't think it really matters which one is on top or what. This white wire, okay, I think they were both supposed to go through this rubber gasket, whatever, guide thing. You can see the wires going there. Okay, so I don't know if it matters, but I think when I first did it, the white one was on top. Anyways, we'll get the wire down there into this raised part that catches it, and then we'll tuck that over that way. Same thing with the white one. Get that in, tuck that over that way. Okay, then we'll get that down. And then we've got to hold the two wires over on this side. That's a little bit tricky part. Okay, is to hold them up into this area here. And then if you can pull them down around and push it down to there. Oops. There we go. Get that in there and push that down around and into that little groove. And there we go. Okay, we got that all back into place. All right, now we just got to get the bottom cover back on and we're good to go. So again, very quick, simple repair that I ended up taking longer than I should have to show this. But yeah, okay, we got the bottom cover. We're going to start with this, slide the top part in, make sure it's slid in all the way. Then we drop this down, push this in. It helps to push it towards the center as you push down on it, like that. Same thing with these, push it towards the center as you push down, and you can see it clicks in just like that. Very simple. We'll get this last screw in, and we're good to go. Oh, I probably should have showed you, I mean, I already tested it earlier, but when you power it on, make sure the fan spins. I guess I can show you that real quick. When you start it up, it only spins a little bit and then it waits till it's hot. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be spinning up right away. Okay. This cover's kind of annoying to get off, but there we go. Okay. So there we go. Let me actually power it up and you'll see the fan spin a little bit. Again, it only spins a little bit when you first turn it on. It waits until it's hot. So when I turn it on, you can see the fan spinning. And then it stops, okay? But yeah, there's no more of that whatever noise. So we should be good to go. All right, I just gotta turn this thing back off and we're done. Okay. And because this has a spinning hard drive, actually, is this an SSD? I think this might be an SSD here. Maybe I should pop it out just to see. I think that's an SSD. And it's on a SATA adapter. So this uses a JAS1, so we're going to switch to a different screwdriver. I'm curious. I'm going to open this and hopefully nothing gets messed up because, again, the only issue they were having was the fan. Usually I try and avoid doing extra stuff that might cause damage, but I'm really curious here. So this does look like a little SSD adapter. So how does this come off? Okay, we're gonna flip this latch up first to release that. We can get underneath this brown tab here. Oops. Sorry, let me show you guys a little closer. You can get underneath this brown plastic tab and you can pull that back. Okay. There we go. So we got that out. I'm gonna get underneath this board here a little bit and see if I can pull it up from there. Oh, okay. Anywhere you can kind of like lift it. I'm going from the side, and then you can kind of get this up and wiggle this. And we have this adapter. So there's 4 screws holding this thing into place. Let's go ahead and remove those. Okay. This is a little bit more involved than I was thinking. Maybe I shouldn't. Hopefully nothing goes wrong here. Okay, got that one out. I thought it was a regular SATA hard drive. You can put a regular SATA SSD in here. Okay, so after removing those, hopefully we can get this thing out. What? It's being held in with some like tape or something. Okay, let me see. I think we can get this back end out. So I'm going to hold on the sides here and pull this side down. Huh. Why is it held in there so strong? Okay. Okay, this part, the tape kind of stuck to it, so I gotta pull on this a little to release it. Wow, it's holding strong. Okay, I'm gonna get my fingernails in here and then get in there and pull that. Wow, whatever kind of adhesive is in there, it's like really strong stuck. I'm gonna use this tool, get in there. It's stuck real good. There we go. Yeah, we gotta like get something in this gap here, the groove. Okay, we're gonna try and work our way along the side of this. Whatever that cloth type tape they put there, it's jammed in and it's like stuck. So you can see I pulled on this side and it's coming out. So we can, oh, there we go. Okay. So this tape was what was causing the problem with it getting stuck. All right. Whoa, what is this? It has an extra hole there. Okay. So we got the adapter out. It's probably, what is this, a SATA? Oh yeah, there's a SATA SSD. So don't waste your money with the SATA SSD. You can get an actual regular 2.5-inch SATA. I'm going to get this thing out. I get my fingernail on there and you can see I can pry that up. I'm going to go on this side, same thing. Be very careful because this cable is probably fragile. And you can take this off. This is a standard SATA connection. So you can put a regular 2.5-inch SATA SSD into here. You don't have to use their weird thing that they use, this adapter. So if you wanted to upgrade it to a larger hard drive, go with that. SATA SSDs are hard to find and I don't think there's really any benefit to them. So yeah, just use a normal SATA SSD. Alright, this video is ending up longer than expected. Okay, we're just going to get these screws back in. Oops, did I put this upside down? Okay, I put this adapter upside down. Let's take it back out. Flip this back over this way, right? Pretty sure it was this way because I couldn't see what the SSD was before. Okay, and then we'll just get these screws back in. Okay. Sorry for going this extra thing, taking all this extra time, but hopefully it will help some people. Again, a regular 2.5-inch SATA SSD will work just fine and is much cheaper, easier to find, and will have a better warranty. So don't waste your money on these special SATA SSDs. They're old and outdated. The only benefit, I guess, is it's smaller, lighter by a little bit. But yeah. If you want, you can also rip the SSD board, like the board out of the SSD. It's shaped usually a little bit like this, and it's small and light, so if you want it to stay light, you can do that. Alright, anyways, let's get this thing back in. I'm going to actually put the hard drive connector into this slot first. Line it up. It should go in easily. Make sure you're not using a whole bunch of force. Okay, and we'll drop this into place. Get the hard drive back down. Okay, make sure it's all lined up. Okay, make sure that's in. Slide your finger over the latch like that. Make sure you're not using a tool because you could easily break it. And that's pretty much it. We're just going to get all these screws back in and put that other thing back, and we should be good to go. Alright, again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. The links and ways to do that are in the description below. And yeah, let's get this bottom cover back on. I already showed how to do this, so you should already know how to do it by now. But again, slide this in first. Alright, click these down, push in that way as you're pushing it down. And there we go, last screw, and we're good to go. Okay, switch back to the JS0 and get that in. Alright, thanks for watching. See you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.